I want to introduce our first speaker now. Mr. Jared Chatfield has a BA from Evangel University in History and Biblical Studies with a minor in Hebrew. He has an MA from Missouri State University in Biblical Studies and is currently ABD, which means all but dissertation, in a PhD program in Archaeology and Biblical Studies at Southwestern Baptist Theological Seminary in Fort Worth. He's held fellowships and assistantships or served on faculty at Evangel University, Missouri State University, and SAGU. He has 8 years of archaeological field experience, including serving as an area supervisor at the Tel Gezer excavation project in Israel for the past 5 years. He's presented papers on archaeology in the Bible world at a number of conferences over the past 8 years and is a member of the American Schools of Oriental Research and the Near East Archaeological Society, among other organizations.
Good morning. It's wonderful to be back here at SAGU for your Biblical Archaeology seminar. Thank you, Dr. Hugo, for inviting me back and for that great introduction. Today I will speak on the transition of Israel from complex chiefdom to state, how this transition is manifest in the archaeological record, and the correspondence of that transition to the biblical record, specifically in regards to the reigns of Saul and David. This topic is very important because the state of the maximalist and minimalist debate currently focuses on the early monarchy period. Those in the minimalist camp understand the biblical record to greatly exaggerate or even outright invent the characters of the United Monarchy. Regarding biblical Saul, Israel Finkelstein believes his story to be based off northern Israel, oral traditions from the 8th century BC, which were then adapted for the royal ideology of the kingdom of Judah. In general, Finkelstein sees the historical claims around Saul and David to be either fabrication or exaggeration. I, however, here contend, in light of more recent archaeological data, that the quasi-state seen from the biblical account of the reigns of David and Saul is seen in the transitional period at the end of the Iron I through the Iron IIA archaeological periods. Due to the unquestionable significance of the Hebrew Bible on Western civilization, a great deal of examination and questioning has gone into the study of the emergence of the ancient state of Israel. The states of the ancient Near East are categorized by centralized authority in a monarch, stratified society, I say similar to caste or social levels within cities and social orders, administrative center cities, and some sense of territorial or ethnic boundaries. In stark contrast to that model, chiefdoms are not hierarchical, Chiefdoms are not hierarchical, are based off identity in enlarged family units, and typically do not have established geographical boundaries. Robert Miller, in his book Chieftains of the Highland Clans, makes a further distinction between simple and complex chiefdoms. He says, much current theory describes chiefdoms as either simple, those having only one level of control above the kin level, or complex, those having intermediate level or levels of sub-chiefs between the paramount, that is the supreme chief, and the people. It is complex chiefdoms that develop into states and that one would expect to find in Israel on the threshold of monarchy. He will go on, that is Robert Miller, will go on to contend that the Iron I central hill and settlements reflect this complex chiefdom model. It is this complex chiefdom that will give birth to the early state of Israel during the United Monarchy. Each of these archaeological periods are long and complex. They deserve a full exposition, but for the sake of length of this presentation, I will provide you with a brief characterization. The Late Bronze Age is defined as a period between 1550 and 1200 BC. It is a period of Egyptian hegemony over this region. The southern Levant is dominated by a city-state system of large Canaanite cities that are generally rich in multicultural imported goods from the international trade system that exploded in this period. It was largely a peaceful time due to the Pax Egyptica, sort of like the Pax Romana, only the Pax Aegyptica, and many cities had little to no defensive walls. Some significant cities from this time period are Hatzor, Bet She'an, Megiddo, Shechem, Aphek, Gezer, Bet Shemesh, Telbatosh, and Lachish, to name a few. If you can see on that map, there are not really boundaries of nation states or kingdom states. Rather, you have a series of significant cities that hold influence and control over the regions that they surround. In order to make a stark contrast with the city-state system of the Late Bronze Age that you see there on the map, we will skip ahead for the moment to the Iron II period, which is defined as the period between 1000 and 586 BC. The Iron II period is broken up into two major subperiods: the Iron IIA, circa or approximately 1000 to 925, which corresponds to the United Monarchy, and the Iron IIB through C, which is 925 to 586 BC, which corresponds to the divided monarchy period of Israel and Judah. At this point